Live from New Delhi, you're watching DD India NewsHour, India's voice to the world. I'm Mark Lynn. Namaskar. Coming up in the next hour. Prime Minister en route to New Delhi after successful completion of two-nation visit. India's US, they have set ambitious trade goal of more than doubling bilateral trade to $500 billion US. The US Vice President J.D. Vance urges European officials to stem illegal migration on the continent during his speech at the Munich Security Conference. Vance is to meet Ukraine's Zelensky. Hamas names 3 hostages to be released on Saturday. Israel is expected to free Palestinian prisoners and detainees. More than 500 million devotees have taken a holy dip at the Maha Kumbh in Prayagraj, creating a new world record for any religious congregation. Prime Minister Narendra Modi concluded a high-stakes meeting with the US President Donald Trump in Washington, D.C., focusing on strengthening trade, defense and strategic ties between India and the United States. The visit highlighted the deepening partnership and mutual commitment to addressing global challenges. Here's our report. President Donald Trump greeted India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi with a warm hug and a long handshake at the White House, calling him a great friend. The warmth extends beyond this meeting, reflecting increased trust and partnership in defense platforms. The leaders emphasized their strategic alignment and commitment to a dynamic defense partnership, announcing plans for a new 10-year US-India major defense partnership framework this year.
अमेरिका की महत्वपूर्ण भूमिका है। स्ट्रैटेजिक और ट्रस्टेड पार्टनर के नाते हम जॉइंट डेवलपमेंट, जॉइंट प्रोडक्शन और ट्रांसफर ऑफ टेक्नोलॉजी की दिशा में सक्रिय रूप से आगे बढ़ रहे हैं।
The leaders pledged to boost defense technology cooperation in space, air, missile, maritime and undersea sectors. The US will review its policy on fifth-generation fighters and undersea systems for India.
In 2017, my administration revived and reinvigorated the Quad security partnership. In our meeting today, the Prime Minister and I reaffirmed that strong cooperation among the United States, India, Australia, and Japan, and it's crucial really to maintaining peace and prosperity, tranquility, even in the Indo-Pacific.
India's fifth-generation fighter jet, AMCA, will be operational by 2028, with the project director saying that India is progressing from 5 to 5+ to 6 at a rapid pace.
The stealth is being achieved by shaping number 1, supported by the radar absorbing structures, for which a special materials have to be developed. That with the help of the DRDO labs and CSIR labs, indigenously we have developed it and we have achieved a high technology readiness level with those materials.
India also has offers from Russia for joint development of a fifth-generation fighter jet. And now the US has also offered its latest fighter jet to India. Experts see the US-India major defense partnership as a strategic facilitator within the Quad calculus, with Australia and Japan possessing these capabilities. China and Pakistan both possess stealth capabilities, with China providing stealth fighters to Pakistan.
रूस ने भी हमको Su-57 का ऑफर किया है और रूस ने ये भी कहा है कि वो तो हमको अपने देश में प्रोडक्शन भी करने देंगे। तो ये हालांकि एक बहुत वेलकम साइन है। हम अपना भी AMCA, एक तो इसको हमें स्पीड अप करना पड़ेगा।
The fifth-generation stealth fighter jet of the United States is one of the most advanced and versatile fighter jets in the world. It is an advanced, versatile jet with 3 variants for diverse military needs. The first, F-35A, which is for conventional takeoff and landing. The second is F-35B, which is used for short takeoff and vertical landing. And last but not least is the F-35C, which is a carrier-based variant designed for the US Navy. Key features include stealth technology that reduces radar signature for evading enemy detection, advanced sensors that fuse data from multiple sources for superior situational awareness. It also has the capability to conduct electronic warfare and intelligence, surveillance, and reconnaissance capabilities. India and the US have vowed to enhance military cooperation across all domains through improved training, exercises, and collaborations on futuristic technology. With inputs from Shubhendu Ghosh, Bureau Report, DD India. Well, India and the United States are setting the stage for a groundbreaking trade partnership with ambitious goals in mind. Two world powers, one shared vision. Let's look at this report.
Though the issue of tariffs was a sticking point between the two countries right from the beginning of the visit, but the talks happened in a conducive environment with both sides putting out their concerns, and the leaders mandated their officials to work out a comprehensive deal on trade that addresses the issue of tariffs and market access.
In a historic announcement on Thursday, Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi and US President Donald Trump unveiled their target to boost bilateral trade to a staggering $500 billion by 2030, doubling the current figures. The two leaders reaffirmed their commitment to strengthening economic ties between the oldest and largest democracies.
अमेरिका के लोग राष्ट्रपति ट्रंप के मोटो मेक अमेरिका ग्रेट अगेन यानी मागा से परिचित है। भारत के लोग भी विरासत और विकास की पटरी पर विकसित भारत 2047 के दृढ़ संकल्प को लेकर तेज गति शक्ति से विकास की ओर अग्रसर है। अमेरिका की भाषा में कहूं तो विकसित भारत का मतलब मेक इंडिया ग्रेट अगेन यानी मिगा।
Energy security for India has emerged as a key issue in trade talks. PM Modi highlighted the importance of increasing oil and gas trade to ensure India's energy security. The two countries are also ramping up their cooperation in the nuclear energy field, especially in the development of small modular reactors.
द्विपक्षीय व्यापार को 2030 तक 2 गुना से भी अधिक बढ़ाकर $500 बिलियन तक पहुंचाने का लक्ष्य निर्धारित किया है। हमारी टीमें एक पारस्परिक लाभकारी ट्रेड एग्रीमेंट को शीघ्र संपन्न करने पर काम करेगी।
The announcement comes as the US and India work towards finalizing a mutually beneficial trade agreement that would focus on cutting tariffs and improving access to each other's markets. As both nations look to expand trade, the issue of tariffs remains a topic of discussion. The proposed trade deal aims to reduce these barriers, making it easier for businesses to thrive on both sides.
We're just going to get along well. We're going to get along with all countries. We're going to do very well. We're going to be doing, I think, record business, record numbers. And we're going to work with India also. We have some very big trade deals to announce in the very near future.
The key takeaway from PM Modi's US visit is clear. India and the US are working hand in hand towards a future of shared growth and opportunity. With a focus on energy, defense and trade, the two nations are setting a new course for bilateral ties and partnerships. Amritpal Singh from Washington, D.C., DD India.
A major breakthrough in counter-terrorism efforts as the US President Donald Trump has approved the extradition of Tawahur Rana, an alleged plotter of the 2008 Mumbai attacks, to face justice in India. This comes as Prime Minister Narendra Modi and President Trump issued a strong call to Pakistan to bring the perpetrators of the 26/11 attacks to justice without delay.
In a significant move, the United States has approved the extradition of Tawahur Rana, a Pakistani-origin Canadian citizen and a suspect behind the 2008 Mumbai attacks that killed over 160 people.
Today, I'm pleased to announce that my administration has approved the extradition of one of the plotters and one of the very evil people of the world, and having to do with the horrific 2008 Mumbai terrorist attack, to face justice in India. So he's going to be going back to India to face justice.
The announcement came during a joint press conference as President Donald Trump hosted Prime Minister Narendra Modi at the White House, marking their first bilateral meeting since Trump's second term began. Rana is an associate of Pakistani-American terrorist David Coleman Headley. Headley was one of the main conspirators of the 26/11 attacks at Mumbai. The US Supreme Court on the 21st of January declined to hear a review petition from Rana on extradition. India has been working with American authorities for the early extradition of Tahfur Rana.
On Tahfur Rana, I think I addressed this in an earlier press conference as well. This is an issue on which the U.S. authorities have taken very clear decisions. I think you've seen the president announce it himself from the White House podium, the decision of the United States to extradite him. It's reflected there in the joint statement as well. We are working on the logistics of this, his surrender and extradition to India. There are a few final steps to be completed. The two sides are in touch on this particular issue.
In a clear message to Pakistan, both the leaders called for an expedited trial against those responsible for the Mumbai and Pathankot attacks. In a joint statement released after the meeting, both the leaders emphasized the global scourge of terrorism that must be fought and terrorism's safe havens eliminated from every corner of the world. The joint statement further highlighted the need for stronger cooperation in tackling terrorist threats from Al-Qaeda, ISIS, Jaish-e-Mohammed and Lashkar-e-Taiba to prevent any further attack on humanity. Rana was based in Chicago and was convicted in 2011 and later sentenced to 13 years in prison. He is currently lodged at a Metropolitan Detention Center in Los Angeles. Bureau Report, TD India.
In the latest news from the Israel-Hamas ceasefire, Hamas, they published the names of 3 hostages for release on Saturday in exchange for Palestinian prisoners. The hostages to be released are Sasha Alexander Trufanov, Sagui Dekel Chen and Le Horn. All 3 hostages are due to be released on Saturday, and they were seized in Kibbutz Nir Oz, one of the communities around the Gaza Strip. Israelis have expressed their happiness and excitement at the news of the release of these 3 hostages on Saturday. Speaking about the release of his son, the father of the American-Israeli hostages, Sagoi Dekel Chen, has said that it's the result of a cooperative effort.
Clearly, the force of President Trump's tweet about 2 months ago and subsequent statements and tweets by him and incoming administration officials have made a difference amongst all the parties. So I don't think this should become a credit war between the administrations, or should be looked at that way by the media. And this is a cooperative effort.
What's to come here on DD India NewsHour? The US Vice President J.D. Vance attacks Europe on immigration, defense spending, and says free speech is in retreat. The RBI imposes restrictions on Mumbai-based New India Cooperative Bank. You're watching DD India NewsHour. I'm Mark Lynn. India Energy Week 2025 has wrapped up, solidifying India's role as a global energy powerhouse. From major policy announcements to groundbreaking innovations, the event marked a milestone in India's energy transition. Akshay Dongre reports.
India Energy Week 2025, the world's second largest energy conclave, has concluded on a high note. With a record number of exhibitors and participants, the event showcased India's bold strides in green energy, international partnerships, and oil and gas exploration. Union Petroleum Minister Hardeep Singh Puri called this edition of India Energy Week a resounding success, highlighting its role in driving business transactions rather than just discussion.
This is perhaps unique, it is different, it is larger. You don't have just petroleum and natural gas. You've had discussions here on green energy, major chunk on biofuels, a lot of emphasis on green hydrogen, a lot of discussion on compressed biogas, and I can go on and on.
Among the standout innovations was a cost-effective biofuel conversion kit for 2- and 3-wheelers, highlighting India's push for cleaner mobility. Another major highlight was India strengthening its energy ties with the US, aiming to boost natural gas consumption from 6% to 15% of its energy mix. In a historic move, the government also announced its largest ever oil and gas exploration bid round covering 200,000 square kilometers. Experts believe this could unlock significant hydrocarbon reserves. India also reaffirmed its commitment to green hydrogen, targeting 5 million metric tons of annual production by 2030. With landmark policies, global collaborations, and groundbreaking innovations, India Energy Week 2025 has set the stage for a cleaner and more energy-secure future. Next year, the event moves to Goa, promising an even bigger platform for energy transformation. Akshay Dongre, DD India.
Well, another cooperative bank has come under the scanner of the RBI, the Reserve Bank of India, leaving customers of this bank furious and baffled. The RBI has imposed several restrictions on the Mumbai-based New India Cooperative Bank because of supervisory concerns. Let's understand more in this report.
On the 13th of February, the Reserve Bank of India imposed restrictions on New India Cooperative Bank, prohibiting it from approving or renewing loans and advances, making investments, or incurring any liabilities without prior RBI approval. In addition, withdrawals from savings or current accounts will not be permitted. However, depositors may set off loans against their deposits under certain conditions. Since the issuance of this direction, bank customers have swarmed their respective branches for seeking clarity on their hard-earned money deposited in the bank accounts.
Financials of the banks are concerned. There was a stress, which is definitely can be seen. They were incurring losses. And RBI as a regulator, supervisor, was very closely monitoring this bank.
The reasons which led RBI to impose restrictions are financial instability and governance concerns. The RBI steps in when a bank is unable to meet obligations, protecting depositors' money from potential losses. The bank may have been facing liquidity issues and declining capital adequacy, making it difficult to meet depositor withdrawals. Rising non-performing assets could have weakened its financial health. Possible mismanagement of financial irregularities in loan disbursements, violation of banking regulations and prudential norms set by the RBI. To prevent a situation where the bank collapses, restrictions like withdrawal limits and operational curbs are imposed. Cooperative banks must comply with minimum capital cash reserve ratio and statutory liquidity ratio requirements. If a bank fails to meet these norms, the RBI takes action to restore financial discipline. Here, the bank's license has not been cancelled and it continues to operate under the RBI monitoring. If the financial position improves, the restrictions could be lifted or modified. What happens now? The RBI will closely monitor the financial situation of New India Cooperative Bank, and if the bank can restore stability, the restrictions may be lifted or eased. If not, further action like merger, restructuring, or even cancellation of the license may follow. Depositors are eligible to claim up to 5 lakh rupees per account under the Deposit Insurance and Credit Guarantee Corporation. The RBI and DICGC will process claims if necessary, ensuring some protection to depositors. If the bank is unable to recover, the RBI may facilitate a merger with a stronger bank. In past cases, struggling cooperative banks have been merged with larger co-op or commercial banks to safeguard depositors' interests.
RBI's restriction on the New India Cooperative Bank highlights the vulnerabilities the Indian cooperative banking sector is facing. While the situation remains uncertain, RBI's intervention in the matter is to prevent the complete collapse of the bank and protect the depositors' money as much as possible. Shama Mishra, DD India, Mumbai.
India's national capital is currently hosting the country's largest textile exhibition. It's called Bharat Tex 2025. Now, this event is hosting 126 countries and more than 6,000 international buyers as well. Let's take a look at this report.
India's Ministry of Textile is organizing Bharat Tex 2025 at New Delhi's Bharat Mandapam that brings buyers, sellers and investors under one single roof. Bharat Tex 2025 is the world's youngest and largest global textile show that focuses on forging partnerships and driving economic growth. Speaking about one-of-its-kind exhibition in India, Union Minister of Textile Giriraj Singh said the event is witnessing a footfall from across the globe.
ये दुनिया का सबसे बड़ा भारत टैक्स जो टेक्सटाइल में एक्सपो के रूप में वो सबसे बड़ा है और ये नरेंद्र मोदी जी 16 तारीख को यहाँ आएंगे। पिछले साल 110 आए थे, इस बार 126 देशों से आने वाले हैं।
The event is not only promoting local artisan but is also hosting global investors in India.
We emphasized, we went local and we took up women. We thought, let's employ the women. That way they teach the kids, feed the home, and they stay. And the biggest USP of our company is that we've given the women looms in their own homes. They don't need to go out anywhere.
I visited this exhibition for the first time, and I find it's really excellent and well organized. A lot of exhibitors, a lot of contacts, potential for the business in Russia, for starting the business in Russia for sure, and signing the contracts between our countries.
Bharat Tex 2025 is also providing women entrepreneurs an opportunity to explore the world of textile and showcase India's culture to the world.
I am coming from Jeddah, Saudi Arabia, and I am currently building my own brand, Raslili, for handloom textiles and handloom saris, and my aim is to take Indian art and Indian handicraft to the world.
The mega event will run until 17th February and is expected to attract over 6,000 international buyers from over 110 countries and over 120,000 visitors, including policymakers, global CEOs and industry leaders. Deepika Mehto's report for DD India.
Moving on to news from Germany now, the Munich Security Conference 2025 is currently drawing global attention, with leaders from around the world gathering to discuss pressing security issues. Key figures like the US Vice President J.D. Vance and the Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky are addressing the future of Europe's security, while tensions continue with Russia's absence from the event. Let's take a look at this report.
Germany is hosting the 61st Munich Security Conference 2025, which will continue till 16th February. The conference is being attended by over 60 leaders of countries and governments. The US, Russian and Ukrainian officials are taking part in this important conference. US Vice President J.D. Vance has urged Europe to spend more on defense as he arrived for the Munich Security Conference. Speaking at the Munich conference, Vance urged European officials to stem illegal migration on the continent. He also pitched for Europe's bigger role for managing its own security.
No voter on this continent went to the ballot box to open the floodgates to millions of unvetted immigrants. But you know what they did vote for? In England, they voted for Brexit, and agree or disagree, they voted for it. And more all over Europe, they're voting for political leaders who promise to put an end to out-of-control migration. Now, I happen to agree with a lot of these concerns, but you don't have to agree with me. I just think that people care. But while the Trump administration is very concerned with European security, and believes that we can come to a reasonable settlement between Russia and Ukraine. And we also believe that it's important in the coming years for Europe to step up in a big way to provide for its own defense.
Russia is not attending the Munich Security Conference this year as it has not been invited. Russia's Foreign Ministry spokesperson, Maria Zakharova, slammed the event, saying it has shifted from a security-focused platform to one that supports Kyiv and promotes policies harmful to Europe's own security. Moscow's absence marks another sign of deepening divisions between Russia and the West.
Russian officials are not invited to the Munich Security Conference. This decision was made several years ago. It is a politicized decision. It is a strange decision. So representatives of the Russian Foreign Ministry as well as other Russian officials, structures and agencies will not attend. This I can tell you for sure.
Vance is also meeting Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky, who is also in Munich for the conference. Briefing media on the sidelines of the conference, Zelensky said that Europe would unite around Ukraine for its own national security reasons.
In any case, Europe will increase unity around Ukraine. It is important. I am speaking about all kinds of support. It will be for their own protection.
Meanwhile, German Defense Minister Boris Pistorius has criticized the US approach to dealing with Russia, saying any negotiations to end the war in Ukraine must involve Europeans.
Wer sitzt mit am Verhandlungstisch?
It's about our neighborhood, and that's why we Europeans have to be involved in the negotiations. And of course, this issue has not yet been resolved in the short time available.
NATO Secretary General Mark Rutte said that Europe must come up with concrete plans for Ukraine.
I really believe what Europeans have to do now is to come up with the concrete plans. One, to get more military aid into Ukraine. Secondly, to get more training into Ukraine.
The Munich Security Conference has begun days after US President Donald Trump and Russian President Vladimir Putin held watershed talks that have shaken Ukraine and NATO allies of the United States almost 3 years after Russia launched its full-scale attack. Bureau Report, DD India.
Well, let's take a look at other stories making news from around the world. A fatal collision between a four-seated cycle and a car in a town in New Zealand's Martinborough has killed one British cyclist and injured 3 others badly. Now, the local police is investigating the cause of this accident. A strong cold air mass intensified relentless snowfall on Friday in parts of Japan, including prefectures of Fukushima, Hokkaido and Niigata, grappling people with blizzards and resulting in road blockages and significant agricultural damage. In Fukushima, the continuous snowstorm has overwhelmed snow removal efforts, leaving many roads impassable. Now, with plows struggling to keep up, locals have taken matters into their own hands to clear the snow themselves. The San Agustin Cambe Tours project has worked to transform a neighborhood in southwestern hills of Venezuela's capital, Caracas, from a history of violence to a tourism destination for local and foreign visitors after years of community work. Under the project that has gained prominence in recent years, residents and visitors can find leisure and entertainment for $40. Buin Zoo Biopark in Chile has celebrated Valentine's Day by engaging its animals in special enrichment activities on Thursday. The zoo's veterinary team prepared heart-shaped snacks for their resident animals, such as blood popsicles for the lions, as well as apple treats for giraffes to stimulate natural behavior. Nepal's nationwide HPV vaccination campaign is making significant progress. In fact, raising awareness about cervical cancer, prevention among students, parents and teachers at the Kendriya Vidyalaya in Kathmandu, adolescent girls from the classes of 6 to 12, they've received the HPV vaccine as part of this drive. The anti-HPV vaccine campaign aims to immunize over 1 million adolescent girls across Nepal.
basically targeted to adolescent girls, from those who go to school from class 6 to class 10, and those adolescent girls who are out of school. For them it is targeted from age 10 years to 14 years, and from the next year it is going on a regular immunization schedule for girls studying at class 6 or out of school going adolescent girls for age 14 years, and this program has been fully supported by Government of Nepal.
Still to come here on DD India NewsHour, we'll be discussing India-US relations in the light of Prime Minister Narendra Modi's visit to Washington, D.C.
Clean energy is the future for sure. We are still not able to produce enough energy through renewable sources yet. But why is it so, and how can we change that?
We introduced solar-powered streetlights, cutting consumption by 5%. Then I had the government build green homes fitted with solar panels, making us more energy independent.
The panels contain a lot of rare commodities, and you can save a lot of energy if you use recycled materials.
We run off hydropower or wind power, so the electricity we have is sustainable and renewable. So of course that's the most sustainable we can do.
When it transforms and translates into results that is tangible, they can see the difference that it makes to their environment. It's a huge thing.
Welcome back. Here's a recap of our main news. Prime Minister Narendra Modi is en route to New Delhi after a successful completion of his two-nation visit. India-US, they have set an ambitious trade goal of more than doubling trade to $500 billion US. The US Vice President J.D. Vance has urged European officials to stem illegal migration on the continent, during his speech at the Munich Security Conference. Vance also is going to meet Ukraine's Zelensky. And Hamas names 3 hostages to be released on Saturday. Israel is expected to free Palestinian prisoners and detainees. Now, India and the United States, they have what's called the US-India Compact, or the Catalyzing Opportunities for Military Partnership, Accelerated Commerce and Technology. We're going to talk about this and also trade targets. We have with us Lieutenant General Anil Ahuja, retired. He's a distinguished fellow at the Vivekananda International Foundation, as well as former Deputy Chief of Integrated Defence Staff. And Professor Rakesh Mohan Joshi is the Vice Chancellor of the Indian Institute of Foreign Trade. Thank you very much, gentlemen, for being with us. General Ahuja, how long can India wait, or afford to wait, in fact, for a 5th generation fighter? How urgent is the need?
See, if you look at the discussions that have been held today, and we've spoken of this 5th generation fighter, the fact is it's part of a very comprehensive discussion that has taken place. It has indicated the significance of defense trade and indicated that the door is open for 5th generation fighter.
Okay.
Now, when we acquire it, what we acquire, we have to balance it with our own considerations. And it's a positive step as part of defense trade. But the real acquisition would perhaps be a deliberate decision hereafter.
Indeed. Professor Joshi, $500 billion trade target with tariff disruptions to the supply expected because of Donald Trump's policies. Will that be easy?
I think today, as you are aware, soon after Prime Minister Modi's bilateral talks with Donald Trump started, and I think point blank the American president pointed out about reciprocal tariff, and he means no word in saying that the tariff in many countries, including India, is very high. So India was targeted point blank. It was a bit tough and a challenging situation. But when you go to the as the talks progressed and the day came to an end, Prime Minister Modi has demonstrated by converting the challenge into an opportunity by reaching at certain agreements, which I think we wanted. Some investment in the high technology sector, some investment in the nuclear reactor sector, and then acquisition of the defense goods which you were asking.
Right.
When it comes to the trade, please try to understand that right from GATT formation after the Second World War, and then in 1995 WTO, the whole world has been based on what we call as MFN tariff. MFN is most favored nation. Most favored nation treatment under the GATT says that a country cannot impose differential tariffs on the two nations. But I think soon after Donald Trump came into the power, he has also not missed the word, and he is using tariff by saying openly that tariff is required to protect the American jobs, American economy, and all that.
Sure.
And he tried to identify the countries with which America has got a greater trade deficit.
Indeed, in India,
in which the highest trade deficit countries were identified. But now India has also come, because India also has got a trade surplus with America.
Right, about $35 billion in fact is the trade surplus.
$35 billion in fact, and and we are having trade surplus with America for last many years.
Right.
So to balance that, he has also forced to import, some oil, petroleum, defense equipment, and some other high-tech equipment, all those things.
Right, Professor Joshi, I'll come back to you on finer details. Let me talk to General Ahuja once again. General Ahuja, is the defense production ecosystem in India competitive, or does it need greater collaboration with the US in particular? We have collaborations with Russia. We're looking for these kind of joint development projects. Is the US willing to participate?
See, I think it will be good for us if we can put it in perspective. The fact is, when we talk of defense cooperation, it builds on military to military cooperation. Thereafter, we have defense industrial cooperation, defense technology cooperation. So they all come packaged together. Now, since your specific question is related to defense trade, defense industry cooperation, we know that about 21,000 crores of our defense exports, 50% of them have been going to US. Of course, the relationship is a little different. That our MSMEs, our small industries, supply a lot of things to their arms majors. So we concluded the supply of security agreement, SOSA, when our Raksha Mantri went there in August. We are looking at concluding a reciprocal defense procurement agreement, which has been alluded to in this joint statement.
Yes.
Now, this will help us to help the US to get their supply chains resilient, for us to improve our defense exports.
Okay.
And in the package, certain acquisitions like Stryker, P8I, Javelin, and certain exports from our side will add ballast to our relationship.
Okay,
so
indeed.
We are there, we all have a place, and we've got an interface with
Right, Professor Joshi, in FY24, according to figures, India's exports to the US were engineering goods about 10 billion, gems and jewelry about almost 10 billion, drugs formulations and biologicals about 9 billion, petroleum products about 6 billion, cotton accessories about almost 5 billion. So what do you think we should do to increase our volumes and also the number of the number of products in the basket?
India basically exports a lot of labor-intensive product into the American market. We have the product of our interest are the textiles. The products of our interest in America are gems and jewelry, the finished gems and jewelry, and the bulk drugs or the generic drugs. America is the largest buyer of Indian generic drugs, and so all these products are there. Generally, the American products which India imports, 75% of the product in India. The tariff import, average tariff import on them is 5%, wherein the product of our interest in America, they have got tariff 15 to 35%. So I think America will take time to think it over. And the President Donald Trump has also talked about, indicated on some trade agreement on which I am very sure the government of India is working. We are working very hard in India for that. And, the only thing is America need to make some calculation for that, because, imposing this reciprocal tariff on the countries which are friendly, which are cost competitive, it should not end up like, China, dumping its product across the world, not only in India and all that. So I am sure that, those things loom into, but India, we are targeting the product, we are finding the product. And we have got a lot of product, which are of interest, and our products also have a lot of non-tariff barrier in America. Our food product, our dairy product, wherein if you see, say almond, 92% of the shelled almond which India import, India is the largest importer of almond on the earth. It comes from United States of America. America accounts for 60-65% import of the walnuts in India. Apple is another product which we import. America is very much interested in sending some of the agriculture product in the market. America want our dairy to be opened up. India is a large market. India is a market with 1.42 billion people. Right. Per capita income may be less, but there are certain products in which India is the largest market on the earth, and America will never like to lose this market. So India do have a lot of negotiating advantages, and we are leveraging on that.
Indeed, and the consumption capacity is also growing, because after all, we've seen that, tax policies have been put in place where people have more money in their hands. But General Ahuja, the US has, pledged additional defense sales and co-production. You did talk about the Javelin anti-tank guided missiles, the Striker infantry combat vehicles, the PS-81 or 8I? P8Is, the maritime patrol aircraft. So how do you assess all these products?
See, we already have a lot of US origin equipment, and since 2008 we've got about $25 billion worth of equipment, and a whole lot of them are listed there. We've got C-130s, C-17s, Apaches, Chinooks, helicopters, M777, or ultralight howitzers, and so many. Now, what we are talking of is Striker, which is an infantry combat vehicle equivalent to the BMP vehicle of the Russian origin that we have today. And Javelin is an anti-tank guided missile. We've already been carrying out the trials of this equipment in high altitude areas. So it was already being contemplated to meet the visualized operational needs. As far as P8Is is concerned, India already has 12 of them, and we've been contemplating buying 6 of them because this is an invaluable asset for our intelligence, surveillance, and reconnaissance requirements. That is, in layman's terms, our eyes and ears in the sea and on the borders. So each one of them has a value, and they are coming, they'll fill the necessary operational requirements into our inventory.
And what about co-production, General Ahuja? Because do we look at co-production also of these things, or is it just a buyer-seller relationship?
No. In fact, we have deliberately made an effort to get out of a mere buyer-seller relationship, because in defense, it's not as simple as paying money and getting a product. It should generate certain indigenous capability. So in each one of them, we are talking of co-production at this stage, like we are talking of G414 engines, etc. And as we go by progressively, we'll move into co-development of perhaps the upper ends of these products or maybe different products, but definitely these are being linked to co-production, which promotes our industry, which promotes the Make in India initiative.
Professor Joshi, what are your expectations from this bilateral trade agreement that is being worked out? It's expected to, be negotiated and be completed by the fall of 2025 this year. It's supposed to focus on free trade, national security, job creation. What do you think? I mean, what does it entail?
Generally, in this agreement, I think we'll try to, negotiate for the goods where we have got the, competitive advantage, especially the labor-intensive product, some of, our engineering goods, textile, handicraft, toys, pharmaceuticals, gems and jewelry, and like. Only thing is, we have to be very cautious in signing the deal, because as you are aware that in 2018, US signed a deal with Canada, which was made the US, Mexico and Canada deal. But despite of the deal, he imposed 25% duties both on Canada and Mexico. So, deal, I think we are going to do that. And given the good equation between, the both countries, the things, how the things will take place, I am very unsure. But deal will at least, help us in, getting the reciprocal duty. And it may serve as a protectionist mechanism, but I think what is required now is two things. Number one, India is consistently monitoring the tariff regime of Donald Trump and what is the tariff he imposes on different countries, because it is not only that he imposes tariff on country A, country B, say Mexico, Canada, China, India, but what he imposes on UK, because the whole thing is going to create a complete disruption in the international or the global supply chain, and these disruptions will make products of certain market competitive, certain market uncompetitive, product wise. So, we are working on a detailed research, product wise, 6 digit, 8 digit, as to which are the product India is going to be competitive, and it's a matter of constant monitoring. Indeed. Say you impose tariff 25% Canada, Mexico, but there is no tariff on Japan, there is no tariff on so far imposed.
It will be a hard-nosed negotiation, is what you're saying. But General Ahuja, a final question to you. There's the launch of this Autonomous Systems Industry Alliance. It spells Asia, I think. It's expected to spur the innovation, in AI-enabled counter UAS or unmanned aircraft systems, maritime defense, and it's supposed to complement also the Tiger Triumph Tri-Services exercise. What do you look at the kind of breadth and the depth of this cooperation going forward? How is it progressing in your view?
You've given a pointer to an excellent perspective, which I think is not very commonly known. The fact is, we've collaborated, like I gave you the entire scope of collaboration, but in terms of our traditional military operations, we've, let's say in land, we've cooperated for high altitude warfare, counter-terrorist operations, peacekeeping operations. We've focused on these kind of things for last 20 years. Today, what has been spoken of is cooperation in emerging domains, space, cyber, underwater domain awareness, and ballistic defense, air defense. Now, it is in this scheme of things that this cooperation about autonomous systems, now they are coming in a big way on the battlefield. So what this statement indicates is that while we have maintained continuity, while we have looked at defense cooperation in a comprehensive way, we have also looked at it in a very contemporary manner, that future and emerging battlefield, how do we address it together? So it's a pointer in that direction. It brings in industry, it brings in military operational preparedness, and it gives a scope for further development. And this framework of defense cooperation, which will be getting renewed this year for another 10 years, when these aspects get factored into it, I think it will do good to our cooperation. It will make it contemporary.
We'll leave it there. Thank you very much, General Anil Ahuja, Distinguished Fellow at VIF and former Deputy Chief of the Integrated Defence Staff, as well as Professor Rakesh Mohan Joshi, Vice Chancellor of the Indian Institute of Foreign Trade. Thank you for enlightening us on India-US ties.
Thank you very much. Thanks.
You're watching now DD India News Hour. Let's get you the sports news. Well, an evening of celebration, culture and sporting glory marked the grand closing ceremony of the 38th National Games. It's happened at Haldwani, which is in Uttarakhand, and India's Home Minister Amit Shah, he graced the occasion as the chief guest, adding significance to the event. Golapur Stadium, it turned into a vibrant stage. Athletes, dignitaries, spectators, they all came together to bid farewell to an unforgettable edition of the Games. Narayan Singh was there, he reports.
The 38th edition of the Indian Olympic-style event, National Games, witnessed a spectacular farewell in the North Indian city of Haldwani in Uttarakhand. The grand closing ceremony took place at Golapur Stadium, marking the end of an exciting sports extravaganza. India's Home Minister Amit Shah graced the event as the chief guest. He received a warm welcome with a vibrant performance by artists. In his address, he praised Uttarakhand for successfully hosting the Games.
धामी जी ने 21वें स्थान पर से देश के खेलों के नक्शे पर हमारी देवभूमि को 7वें स्थान पर लाने का पुरुषार्थ.
The events saw the presence of several dignitaries. India's Sports Minister Mansukh Mandavia, Uttarakhand Chief Minister Pushkar Singh Dhami, and Indian Olympic Association President P.T. Usha were present at the closing ceremony.
आने वाले दिनों में देश एक स्पोर्ट्स हब बने, उसकी शुरुआत आज से हुई है. ओलंपिक्स गेम 36 की हौसला बढ़ाने की शुरुआत आज से हुई है.
A key highlight was the ceremonial handover of the National Games flag. India's northeastern state, Meghalaya, officially took over as the next host to the 39th edition of the Games to be held in 2027. Uttarakhand delivered a remarkable performance in the event. The host state won 24 gold, 35 silver and 44 bronze medals, finishing with a total of 103 medals. The Services Sports Control Board emerged as the overall champion. The 30th National Games concluded on a high note, celebrating talent, dedication and sporting excellence.
The 38th National Games may have come to a close, but this is not the end. It's a new dawn of Indian sports. The passion, determination and excellent display in Uttarakhand during the National Games will continue to inspire athletes across the nation. As the torch now passes to Meghalaya for the next edition, the journey of the sporting glory marches on, promising even greater achievements ahead. With camera person Manmohan, Narayan Singh, DD India, Haldwani.
Well, more than 500 million devotees have taken a holy dip in the holy Triveni at the Maha Kumbh 2025 in the Indian city of Prayagraj. This is so far because the surprising number of visitors is a great indicator of the faith and the devotion among people, and the grand festival, in fact, which is an exemplary confluence of India's spirituality, unity, equality and harmony. And on that note, it's time for us to say goodbye here on this edition of DD India News Hour. Let's know your thoughts as well on the news of the day. And for those of you on the go, you can get the latest news and updates also on the mobile app, which is the DD India mobile app, available on Android and iOS. Just scan the QR code and download it. We'll be back with more news as it breaks here on DD India. My name is Mark Lin from all of us here. Thanks very much for watching DD India News Hour. Namaskar.
Prasar Bharati, in collaboration with